the area. Everybody gets very, very friendly and talkative, and some weren't happy at halftime, some were happy at halftime, but it's all good. But one of the things, and I don't have anything big announcement wise tonight. I want to recap a few things that I talked about last week. And then I want to talk a little bit about activity. That's the topic for training tonight is activity or lack of. Okay. And there's a real simple rule in this business, and there's only one way to fail, and that's through inactivity. And there's only one way to succeed, and that's with activity. And it really is that simple. Okay. If your business is not moving at the rate or speed that you want it to, it's going to be due to inactivity on your part. Okay. If it is moving the way you want it to, then it's going to be because of activity on your part, and even more so that your team is following you. See, that's the one thing in this business that we can very easily forget is that eyes are always on us. Okay. Whether we realize it or not, the eyeballs are always on us. And we learned that in our first company that, be careful what you say, be careful what you do, be careful with how you behave, because you never know who's watching. So you should assume everybody is. You should just assume that, everybody's eyes are always on you. And that's why activity and inactivity are the two key ingredients to success and or failure in this business. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, but let me go through the announcements here first. And April, I know your voice is not the best, but if you want to chime in, by all means,
Shot.
chime in. I had to sick my favorite doctor on her because she says, I ain't taking no stuff. What she means is drugs, prescription. So I had to actually call the doctor and say, send in a prescription and I'll figure out how to trick her to take it, and this is what the doctor said. Good luck with that one. She wrote the script anyway, but and some of you may remember it's Dr. Patty. She's still a very dear friend and our personal doctor, but that was her comment with that. I'll figure out how to get her to take it. And she said, good luck with that one. It was like, so anyway, she's used to dealing with April when it comes to prescriptions or lack of, I should say. But anyway, I normally would say Power Hour was tomorrow on Monday, but it was today. Okay. And that's why the date's a little bit messed up. But I just want to remind you that if you ever want to get in a good habit of working with your teammates, with friends for an hour uninterrupted, doing some of the reaching out that I'm going to talk to you about in a few minutes. 4 o'clock Eastern every Monday, the same Zoom number here. Everybody works towards introducing our products and our business and, to other people and or warming up cold market and helping it become warm market. Okay, so it's a very, very productive hour. But the date I really want you to focus on is we're doing our live product and opportunity launch, April and I, on February 24th. So that's 2 weeks from tomorrow. Okay, and that's something to just start planning on. It's too early to invite for that because you can't give people 2 weeks notice, but you definitely want to have it marked in your calendar that that's a live event. All of my teammates are going to be on there. My business associates, Bob and April, are going to be on there. And you've heard me say this before, but we love using the replay. Yes, it is recorded, okay, but you never tell a guest that it's recorded. If they say, is there going to be a recording? Just say, I have no idea. I just know, a lot of people are going to be on live. And, you always want people on live. But here's the thing with being on live. When they're on live, they're in the movie. They're on it. Okay. They're part of the movie. So it's, I always joke, it's like being on the Hollywood Squares and you're one of the players. That's that's better than just watching it and watching other people. So you always want to strive to get your prospects and guests on live. The results are much better and they're in it, and you've heard the saying, you got to be in it to win it. Okay, they're in it and the results are better when they're in it. So another reminder, if you haven't already done it, register and get yourself booked for the big event coming out in Las Vegas. The original room block is sold out, okay, for the 169 a night, but there are other hotels right around that hotel that's got similar rates. Okay, so the rates are still cheap, but don't wait. We're getting close to just 2 months away now, and I got our, I was watching airfare for a while, price wise. I don't know what happened last week, but last week when I looked, the prices were almost half price from what they had been. Okay, so we saved about 40%. So, we always try and use Southwest if we can, and Southwest happens to go to Vegas and we're in Orlando, so it's easy to do that. But watch the prices. And if there's any way for you to set a setting that if a price changes to notify you, definitely do that. Okay. Tonight there's a company Zoom at 8 o'clock. We'll try and be done by 7:30, so you got some time. But last week, about a week ago, tomorrow would be a week. Our CEO Steve Fife announced that he would be retiring probably this coming April. So obviously the board of directors is looking for the next CEO. But tonight there's an opportunity for you if you're interested and you want to just listen to people share their appreciation for the 9 years that Steve, put into LifeVantage. And, so there's not going to be announcements or training. It's going to be all about, wishing Steve well, and some people will be sharing their testimonies and experiences that they've had with Steve. April and I had a really good, we didn't have a lot of one-on-one time with him. We've eaten dinner with him many times or lunch with him many times, but there are always a lot of other people around. But coming back from Africa from the safari last year, we actually had him to ourselves for, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hours on the way home. We were talking to him about doctor stuff, and it was nice. Very, very smart man, very, very nice man, and very visionary. So anyway, tonight I'm going to be talking more. I labeled it expanding your pond. And what I mean by that is, you know, the bigger the pond, the bigger the fish. And some of us are fishing in puddles, others are fishing in maybe fish tanks, some are fishing in ponds. You really want to get your line out there into the lakes and oceans and rivers. Okay, because there's a lot of people looking for what we have. They just don't know it exists. And they don't know the professionalism and the profitability and the ease in which it can be done now because of technology and AI and social media, and the fact that everybody's carrying a cell phone around in their pocket. They don't realize, they still think back. I know some of you knew us 25, 30 years ago when we were in our first company, and everything was one-on-one, and get them to a hotel meeting, and it was just a lot of one-on-one time with people. And that has changed over the years. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about that. Okay, so I already mentioned Power Hour. Again, Monday afternoon, every Monday afternoon at 4 o'clock Eastern, same Zoom number we're on now. Okay, if you haven't downloaded these are invitations for the live opportunity presentation I mentioned. That's 2 weeks from tomorrow. And just a reminder, it's the same Zoom number that we're on, but don't ever post this on social media. Post this one on the right. Okay, make them ask for the Zoom link. And that way you're giving the link to an individual person. and we don't have to deal with potential hackers or spammers or, stuff like this. It helps keep the Zoom meeting quiet and professional, and, it just works better. So, okay. And then this is the live link for the Zoom in the middle here. These have already been posted in Telegram. They've already been posted on Facebook, but if for some reason you don't have them, you can reach out to me or April or someone in your upline, and we'll be happy to send it to you. So these are kind of for posting, the left and the right, the red. The one in the middle is my favorite because the link down here on the bottom puts them right into the Zoom. They don't have to do anything. Okay. April, you always mentioned if somebody's joining us on Zoom, they should make sure they know how to do it.
Yeah, don't take it for granted. And then the other thing is if somebody's on a cell phone, they need to download the app first. That's very important because that they won't let them in otherwise. So, and that messes people up. So
So
just
if
make
they're
sure where they're
on,
dialing in from.
so if they're going to use their cell phone, the Zoom, and the app's free, but the Zoom app has to be already downloaded on their phone. Okay.
Yep.
So good information. So again, this is 2 weeks from tomorrow. Okay, I mentioned this already. The main block of rooms is sold out at Planet Hollywood, but the hotels all around it still have good rates. So the big thing, it doesn't really matter what hotel you stay in. What matters is that you're there for the event and to hang out with all of us and get the training and make the connections. And what it does when you're there live, it sends you home with the material that you want so you can speak and share with others with passion and conviction and energy and excitement. That's what it does. It recharges your batteries, and we have fun. It's business, it's tax deductible, it's all those good things, but we have a great time and there's a lot of camaraderie that goes with that. Okay, as I said, the MB is still on sale. This month, we don't know about next month, but it's on sale. It's 20% off.
And
Um,
that's our GLP-1 activator because we have some new people on here, first timers. So,
Go ahead, so you can explain that
well, with
is
my voice. So the MB is just our GLP-1 natural activator.
yeah, when we
Just
call it MB, that's the nickname for
yeah.
it, but that is our weight loss product, our GLP-1 weight loss product. 20% off is a really nice discount. And then there's a 25% discount if you get the MB or the GLP-1 with the Protandim and the Phytopower 1 and 2, which is what we were calling the P84. Okay, that they've changed the name. We all kind of got used to calling it P84, but it's Phytopower 1 and Phytopower 2. One is the veggie one, the other one's the fruit one. Okay, so that's 25% off on that package. So that is a great savings. Okay, okay, that was last week. All right, these slides are all available now in the hub. They're also posted on the next few slides I go through. They're also on our Facebook account. They're also on Telegram. So, and you can go to your website that you would send the customer to, and all of these are there. Okay. And I had someone, I don't know, I was talking to someone earlier today and they were asking about descriptions. It might have been I was on with Lynn and her team this morning, and there are some great descriptions of like the carbon sugar blocker on the website that is easy for you to screenshot, easy for you to copy and paste, but like people want to see what does it do? Well, the key benefits, it reduces sugar absorption. It supports blood sugar levels already within a normal, healthy range. I mean, it's just, it makes you feel lighter and less sluggish after carb-heavy meals, and it supports healthy weight management. Anytime you can add a carbohydrate and sugar blocker, I mean, this is going to help anybody that's looking to lose weight. So a lot of this stuff, okay, let me just see. Okay, this is the beginning of my training, so let me go back. A lot of this stuff is on your website and you can just slide it off, peel it off, copy and paste it. It's, it's in the hub. It's in a lot of places. So, but this is one of the things that I would be talking about, and it's some of what I'm going to be sharing with you now. So, is there anything you want to add, April, until
Yeah, I'd be curious to see, did anybody get theirs yet? Get to try it and stuff because it tastes super good.
the Axio X and the Fido B you talked about,
Yeah.
right? Oh, okay. So, next. Okay. So I'm going to get started with the training here. And, you know, what I said before is this business and being successful in it. Um, is all about activity. And the one thing that we all need to do, and I'll tell you, I've been reaching out to a minimum of 20 people a day. We've accumulated thousands of leads in the last couple of years, and you got to be careful not to overdo it, and you got to have time to follow up with the people that respond to you. But you've heard April say this many times, you need to reach out to at least two a day. Okay. And, now two a day, that could be warm market from Facebook or Instagram. Okay. It could be names and numbers already in your phone, in your cell phone. It could be family and friends and coworkers. It could be people you go to church with that are around sports with. Anyone, and I'm talking warm market now. This is cold market. I'll talk differently in a second. But this is anyone who knows your name and you know their name. That's your warm market. Now, some like friends, family, coworkers, that's your hot market. Okay. I mean, those are people you're going home to. Those are people that you're seeing for lunch or dinner. Those are people that you travel with. But if they know your name and you know theirs, they're your warm market. And you should be talking to at least two a day. And I'm going to run some numbers with you on the next slide or two, just to give you an idea. Now, some are saying, can I do more than that? Of course. Okay, of course you can do more than that, but you should never do less than that. Okay? And I would I would highly advise that you do it every day and you don't say, well, I'm going to do four today so I don't have to do it tomorrow. Or I'm going to do six today so I don't have to do it for 3 days. Okay? This is about developing a new habit. And habits take about 3 weeks, okay, of practice to get, and it kind of depends on what it is you're trying to do, but 3 weeks to a month for it to really become, ingrained in you where you don't have to think a whole lot about it. So the key to it is doing it. And I'm telling you, if you're thinking right now, if you're new or you've been around for a while and you're thinking, I don't have anyone to talk to, okay, I'm going to tell you this. Starting today, when this training is over, start with letter A in your phone. And the first two people in it, let them know what you're doing. Send a message to them. And
Bobby,
April,
can we back that up by
sure.
not every reach out needs to be about a business right away. You know, keep in mind we're in the networking business, so you need to have conversations with people. Hey, how you doing? How are the kids? And look for that opening to say, hey, I might have something to help you with that. Or would you mind taking a look at what I'm up to? So
I didn't
don't
get to
just,
that, but that's good.
yeah, yeah.
um, April jumped the gun on that one, but what I'm trying to point out here is we all have access to many hundreds, if not thousands, of people we know. Okay, that we all do. And what April is just saying is if it is somebody that it's been a while, okay, months, years, okay, since you've spoken to them, you can't just hit them up with a product or a business. You gotta reach out and break the ice and say, I was going through my phone and I came across your name. I can't believe how long it's been since we talked. I mean, how long's it been? How old is Maddie now? How old, how long's it been since that last baseball game? You got to warm them up. Okay, you got to go back and forth, and then you can get to, hey, what's new? What have you been doing? This and that. And one of the best things you could ever do in a conversation, and like I said, April's talked about this a million times, never give a hardcore definitive yes or no type of answer or statement. Always answer questions and lead with questions that kind of require a response back, something like that. Just you always want to kind of leave them open-ended, where you say, hey, what have you been doing? Have you been traveling? I saw some pictures on Facebook. It looked like, it looked really nice where you went. Did you leave the country? Were you still here? Always, if you're asking questions, they're going to get back with other things. So before I talk cold market, April, is there anything you want to say to that?
No, yeah, just make it a conversation. Everybody's an individual, and how can we best serve them?
So a good thing is be normal, right?
Yeah.
But just be normal. It's like, if I was in the supermarket, if I just went, food shopping and I saw somebody in the, in the store in the same aisle that I was in, I wouldn't just get all weird about a product or a business. I'd say, "Hey, Tom, man, it's been a while. How you doing? I haven't seen you at church in a while. Did you change, what time you go? I mean, April and I always try and go to the early service at 8:30. Are you doing a different?" I'm not going to be weird with them, and that's so important because the best line that you can ever hope to say is when someone tells you about their life, their health, their family, their finances, their job, their whatever, their illness, and it gives you the opportunity to say, I might have something that could help you. And that's why you got to be normal with people and just talk to them and ask about their kids and their spouse and their hobby and their whatever it is that they're doing. Now, cold market's different, okay? Because cold market is not going to become, and cold market, I mean, that's social media with people that you don't know. That's cold market, okay? It's any type of advertising is cold market. It's people that don't know your name and you don't know theirs. Okay, it's those people. And if you're looking to build the business in cold market, and April and I have been doing that for the last 2 years, you got to really multiply that number by 10. Okay, because if you want to get two replies back, you're going to have to reach out to 20 of them. Now, what we've been doing, because we've been advertising for 2 years, I just started back from the oldest ones I had from a year and a half ago and just started sending them a message again, just saying, hey, a number of months back, we went back and forth. You had inquired about our product or our business, and I update them on something. And it doesn't matter what it is. I just update them on something. But the reason I'm reaching out, and let me ask you this, folks, okay? The reason I'm reaching out, do you think people's lives change after a year and a half? Do you think maybe some things might have happened that they weren't expecting? Some things just out of the blue? Okay, so just because somebody maybe didn't give us the response we were looking for when we first shared with them, that doesn't mean the situation hasn't changed, or it doesn't even need be situation changing. Maybe the timing is just better for them. It's just better timing. So, but the other thing I want to share with you on that is don't copy and paste too many at once, especially on social media. The algorithms pick up on that. You're always going to be better off kind of just individually dealing with it. Now, if you're texting, well, the algorithms aren't picking up on that because that's texting. Okay, that's not, that's different. But on social media, if you're on Facebook or Instagram, don't be copying and pasting. Okay, if you do two or three and then sit it out for a couple hours, do another two or three. What would your advice be on that, April?
Yeah, definitely don't copy and paste. It's just not cool. It's not individual. It's not a conversation.
It's
I
not
don't.
personal.
Yeah,
People don't like it.
yeah.
Okay, so I just want to give you a couple examples of just some ice breaking stuff. Now, we're using this with cold market, okay? So, and we don't have time to deal with thousands, okay? But always the high would be say hi Noel, hi Lynn, hi Liddy, hi, Sue, whatever it is. But the very first thing you want to let them know who it is. Not at the end, but in the first line. So April and I will always say it's Bob and April Wagner. Why? Well, we've communicated with them in the past, okay? And we change this up, okay? It changes all the time based on what's going on. But this is kind of a make them feel like they could miss out if they don't inquire about more information. Okay, that's what this message was. You don't want to hear about this from someone else. Our company just acquired another company. New products are rolling out. The momentum we're seeing is the kind that people look back and say, I wish I'd gotten in when I heard about it. People tend to procrastinate in business, but timing matters. If you want to be your own boss, this startup is small. Okay. The small decision today could be life changing for you. It was and continues to be life changing for us. I'm reaching out because I don't want people that I have talked to. Remember, April and I have talked to these people that are getting this. They have communicated with us, a lot of them multiple times. I've talked to realize later they missed an opportunity that could have changed their lives forever. Opportunities like this don't stay wide open forever. Momentum attracts attention, and attention brings financial success to those who started. Reply if you want the details. I'll show you exactly what getting started looks like, you know. And then the closing line is kind of almost a takeaway. The question isn't whether this is growing, it's whether you are with us. So, again, and just so you know, this is something that sounds like Bobby and April. It sounds like something we would say, okay? Now, this one is something I've been using with my cold market for the last couple weeks, and a number of people are getting back to me on it, okay? These are people I've communicated with multiple times. Some have gotten back to me, some haven't, okay? Hope you're having a great day. We just found out our company's launching two new patent pending products. One is a carbon sugar blocker, the other is a great tasting pre workout drink for all the fitness fanatics out there. A few months back, you reached out, you watched our video on Facebook. Let's talk for a couple minutes. The timing's never been better for our health and wellness business opportunity. Call or text me directly. And then I give them the option to visit our website if they don't want to talk to me, and they could leave information on our website. So the thing that we're doing here, folks, is we are creating activity. And I want you to understand the power of two a day. I don't care if you start with letter A in your phone tonight, okay? If you do this for 1 week, and I'm going to say 5 days on, 2 days off. You do it Monday through Friday and you take the weekend off, although I would never do that. Okay. But, that's 10 prospects in 1 week that you reached out to. If you do it for a month, that's 40 prospects. If you do it for 3 months or 90 days, that's 120 leads or prospects. If you do it for 6 months, that's 180 days. You have 240 leads. And if you do it for a year, you have 480. And guess what? You didn't pay a dime. They were free. They were in your phone, they were on your social media account. Okay. But here's something you got to get in the habit of reaching out and sharing, what you have with other people in a language that's comfortable to you. Now, I'm just going to give you some things that April and I say a lot, variations of this, okay? But, my openings are always, did you hear or have you heard? Okay. Have I mentioned or did I mention? How exciting is this? I might have something that can help you. Can you believe the timing? Always leave it open-ended with a question that requires some sort of response back from them. And the message is this, folks. If you understand what we have, how many people could be helped with our products, how many people could be helped with our financial opportunity. We are in a absolute do no harm business. We cannot possibly do any harm to anybody with the business opportunity that we have. Okay. So there's no wrong way to fill up your funnel. It's just this. And I said this early, inactivity equals failure. Activity equals success. So we want to always be active. Okay. We want people to know what we do for a living. We want people to know, for years and years and years, when we lived on Long Island, and then when we first moved to Florida and we were over in Ormond Beach near Daytona, our house in the neighborhood, my neighbor, one guy was a sanitation guy. He was kind of a Guido from the mafia. The guy on the other side of me was a Walmart executive. The guy across the street was a retired Miami police chief. Everybody went by kind of what they did, and we were considered the vitamin house. Like the people that lived in that house did vitamins for a living. Okay. And it worked for us. And April still plays a lot of tennis. You guys know this. Anytime anyone's got a question about an injury, their health, wellness, products, anything health related, they go to April. They always ask April, what do you know about this? And we want people to know what we do. You're marking your turf. And if anybody ever reaches out to them, it's going to trigger their mind and think of you. Like I was talking to Mary, she's in some sort of wellness vitamin thing. I don't, let me check back with her and see what she's doing. You're letting people know what you do, and it's really, really, really important. So that is it for me. I'm going to stop the slides here.
Yeah, let me add one thing, Bobby. The most important thing you can have in this business is consistency. That two a day doesn't seem like much, but I can tell you this call is a third of our normal Sunday night call because we changed the date because of Super Bowl, which if it's Christmas, Super Bowl, New Year's, obviously we're going to change that. But even the email texting response is less than the normal Sunday night that I send out. If you are on social media and you're not posting consistently, the replies go greatly down. Everything is consistency. And you can relate that to your regular life. If you're working out inconsistently, if you're watching your diet inconsistently, none of it works as well as consistent. And that has been our motto for the last year and a half. I think our results are way up because of all the little things we do very consistently. And it's none of the big things. So consistency matters a lot.
See, sometimes people think because it's not special, because it's easy to do, because it doesn't take a lot of time and effort, that ain't going to work. But those are the things that do work because those are the things that are duplicatable. Those are the things that other people can learn and duplicate. The big fancy stuff is not duplicatable. But reaching out to two, three, four people a day, that is very duplicatable. And that's the key to the business. So you're right, April. Consistency is everything. So anyway, I went 6 minutes long. So you got 24 minutes if you want to get a bite to eat or something before the company Zoom starts. But that was in an email last week. You should have the link for that. If not, you can go to the Facebook page, the U.S. consultant page, and it's on there. But anyway, we'll be back to normal next Sunday. And if anything we talked about tonight, if we could do anything, answer any questions, if you don't have the invites or something, just text one of us and we'll send it right over to you. Other than that, we might see you in a half hour on the other one. Have a good night.